And the National Domestic Card Scheme will be introduced today by the Central Bank of Nigeria and Nigeria Interbank Settlement Systems PLC, the Bankers Committee, and other participants in the financial ecosystem. The new domestic card program is a strong national program designed to meet the unique needs of Nigeria's payment industry and offer cutting-edge products to the Nigerian market and beyond. Well, joining us now to discuss further is Ugo Aliogo. He's a public policy analyst here in the studio. Ugo, thanks very much for being with us. Yes. Now, the CBN and the Nigerian Interbank Settlement Systems are launching this new national debit card today.
Yes.
What's the purpose of the card?
Well, the purpose of the card is to improve financial service inclusion, drive financial service inclusion, amongst other things, and then is to help to drive growth and then currency management in the e-payment system, amongst other things. But I think there is need for the CBN to consider some other challenges along the e-payment value chain. And one of those challenges has to do with low bandwidth internet penetration. The CBN has to consider that under this new domestic card scheme they are launching. So that challenge has to be addressed. We'll have a lot of downtime in terms of online payments, and then we'll also have to look at the issue of card data security. It's actually major, because of fraudulent activities and because of criminal activities that are being perpetuated using online payments and e-payments. So I think the CBN, in launching this new domestic card payment system or payment scheme, as it were, should consider addressing the issue of downtime in payment services, the issue of card security, and then foremost of all is the issue of sensitization. I think Nigerians should be properly sensitized on how to use the new domestic card payment solution, because it would help them to use it effectively. That has to do with usability, so that it will eliminate the issue of fraud, and then it should eliminate the issue of insecurity in the using of card system.
Well, between this new national debt card scheme,
yes,
the e-Naira,
yes,
the new Naira notes,
yes,
and a foreign exchange system that's got all sorts of different rates, sounds like the CBN is quite busy at the moment. Do you think they've got too much on their plate to get any of these schemes well and truly off the ground and functioning smoothly?
Well, it depends on the context you're looking at it from. I think the whole thing about introducing the domestic card payment scheme and then having other payment solution is gradually driving Nigeria into a cashless society, which is where the world has gotten to. In many advanced economies, they have gone to the level of cashless society, and it's very functional, it's very effective. Just the only problem we'll have in Nigeria is that we'll have a lot of challenges, we'll have a lot of technical odds, along the e-payment value chain. And once those challenges are addressed, I think we'll be on our way as one of the leading players in cashless policy in Africa. So I think the policy is a step in the right direction. My own take is for the CBN to address the infrastructural challenges along the value chain, and then the issue of fraud, and then the issue of card data security, because these things are key. And then a lot of people have been ripped off. A lot of people have been robbed, of their hard-earned money. So I think the policy is a step in the right direction, no doubt.
It might be a step in the right direction. I mean, yes, I understand that the CBN is in a little bit of a bind here. You talk about the e-payment value chain and, yes, system.
Yes.
It's all well and good to have these electronic systems, yes, but if you can't get power, then what good is it having these fancy systems, because you can't access your own money? But I hasten to add, that's not the CBN's fault when it comes to the discos, for example, or electricity generation.
So that's why I pointed out that these are technical odds, right? These are challenges. It's not only the CBN, it's not just meant for the CBN. CBN, they are doing their own role. And then we'll have the tech companies also working in line with the CBN. We'll have the financial services companies and all. So, I mean, if these things are addressed, we will now have a seamless payment solution. We'll have a seamless payment process. So that's how I feel.
We'll wait and see. Yes. Let's move on to some comments by Mr. Tinubu regarding the election and the current fuel scarcity and the Naira redesign. Yes. Sounds like he's making accusations of sabotage. What do you make of these comments? Okay,
so this is the period of election. And then there've been electionary campaign by the different political aspirants, the different presidential aspirants, I mean to say. And then there are different strategies, you know, during electionary campaigns. Some try to whip up sentiment, drive to elicit empathy, and then some they have their own strategy. I think what Tinubu has just done is, in my own view, right, is to whip up sentiment in the polity, you know, to whip up sentiment, you know, and whipping up sentiment, I think, on the flip side, his political opponents will see that as a weak point and capitalize on it. The things he said regarding the Naira redesign and then regarding the fuel scarcity as a ploy to sabotage his political ambition, I don't seem to understand the context which he's saying it from. The fuel scarcity has been on since October. I don't seem to understand how the Naira design and the fuel scarcity affects his own political ambition. I think he's in a better position to explain, but however, I think he should have brought about a better political strategy, right? Because his opponents are already capitalizing on what he has said, which might not be good for his own political journey come February. So I feel it's not in the best interest. And then it could also mean that there are cracks, you know, in the party at the national level, which he has seen, which is trying to point out. So it could be interpreted in different directions. It could be interpreted in different angles, you know. But for me, I think it's high time his advisors and his strategists, you know, change his own political strategies rather than whipping up sentiments. Tinubu has been in this system. He understands the politics very well. I think whipping up sentiments might not be healthy, right? So might not be healthy for his own political journey, my view.
Right. So let's move on from political sentiments to policy, which is what really matters when it gets down to the nitty-gritty. Yes. Whoever takes office in due course later this year, what are they going to do to end fuel scarcity? What are some serious policy ideas that can address the issues that Nigerians are facing today?
So we'll have 3 presidential aspirants, and then each of them have their own political agendas, and then their plan to restructure Nigeria or bring a new dawn in Nigeria. So we don't know who would be elected, we don't know who becomes president. Until the person becomes president, we'll now know his agenda. Talk is cheap. They are doing their electionary campaigns and they are giving their own policy strategy and their own development blueprints. We don't know what they have in stock yet. When they enter into the seat, the person becomes the president of Nigeria, would he implement those policies? Because you see political aspirants trying to score cheap political points. They say things that would get the minds of the electorate, that would make them score cheap political points. But when they enter into the seats, will they implement those things? That's the big question. So it's not just reeling out those political agendas, it's implementing it.
So you say talk is cheap, and the House of Representatives has summoned the NNPC to appear before the House by 2 p.m. today. Is that going to do anything?
Yeah, obviously it's going to, it's going to change the situation. It's going to bring in some level of seriousness on the part of the federal government. I mean, it shows the federal government is really concerned, but I feel it should have been done earlier than now.
But tangibly, what is going to change when if the NNPC is to appear before the House of Representatives?
Well, I can't say. I'm not part of the meeting, but I know that there's going to be a change. It shows some level of seriousness on the part of government, because I can't say, like I said, I won't be part of the meeting, or I'm not part of the meeting, so I wouldn't know what the decisions will be and where the conversation will get to.
Is that not having a lot of faith in the NNPC, that they'll be hauled in front of the political representatives, they will give their spiel about what's happening and the issue of importation of fuel here in Nigeria, but actual policy change, tangible changes, what are you expecting to happen?
Well, like I said, there'll be hope for a better policy arrangement. However, but let's wait and see what the outcome of the meeting will be, and then what the NNPC will try to bring out to address the current fuel crisis we're facing.
Okay, so in the current budget,
yes,
the fuel subsidy is budgeted only up until June of this year. Mm-hmm. We've heard different candidates talk about repealing the fuel subsidy. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's going to happen promptly before June?
Well, like I said, let's get the new president on seats, and then let's see his policy agenda and then his plan to address the issue of fuel subsidy. I can't speak for any of them, right? And then we don't know their policy agenda. So I think when we'll get the new president on seats, we'll see his policy agenda and then his commitment to address the issue. All of these are just conversations that we're making, electionary campaigns to scotchy political points. Until they get there, they'll be confronted with more problems. So the thing now has to be, what is their priority? Is removing fuel subsidy a priority amongst the myriads of problems they'll be confronted with? That's the question. So the first is getting the new president, and then let's hope that their policy agenda, which they have been using during the electionary campaign, they begin to implement it one after the other.
We'll wait and see. Ugo Aliogo, thanks very much for joining us here in the studio.